Welcome back, everybody. It's Jack Graham, and we've got another video here today. First of all, thank you all for being here. If you like what you see here, please subscribe, do the like thing, and helps the channel out, and it's all good. So today is it's the day before the 4th of July here in America. I don't know how many people are going to actually listen to YouTube videos this weekend. I think people are going to be busy. So, I just thought I'd put something up just in case anybody's around. If you do like what you see, of course, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to be kept up to date on when the next video comes out. I'll try to get one done about every week to 10 days. Some miscellaneous cacophony today of different things. I think I'm going to introduce something new on every video. I don't know what I'm going to call it, but for today, let's call it underrated, maybe lesser known, great players. And I got to tell you, as you all know, you've been around the jazz idiom. There are so many people. I mean, we all know the Bill Evanses and the Mileses and the major names in jazz, but boy, there's so many people around that have recorded some great music and played some great music, continued to play some great music that that kind of fly below the radar. So I'm going to try to talk about maybe one of those every video. And then I might also bring up something special I find in the classical realm as well. For those of you who don't know me, I mean, I listen to probably as much classical music as I do jazz. I'd say it's probably pretty much 50-50, and enjoy both immensely. I'm very fortunate. I do this. I'm not in the group per se, but Audiophilia, and again, I'll link that link on the bottom here. We're going to be on tonight. It's a group of great writers and great reviewers, run by a really good person up in Vancouver, and they have a great website. And we do this live stream on Wednesday night on classical music, where they do this live stream. I'm invited up on the stream once in a while, but I'm there every week because there's so much great information. And I love classical music as well. So I might talk about one or two records here through the course of these videos that I enjoy that maybe you want to check out as well. So without further ado, let's get to what we want to talk about today. As far as new recordings, over the course, I think we have about 67 videos up now, maybe a little more. Predominantly, everything I've talked about was older recordings, and I'm going to keep doing that. In fact, we got 2 older recordings here today I want to talk about, and a couple of reissues that were done recently by Analog Productions in Salina, Kansas. This company has licensed only analog material. They don't do anything digitally. It's all analog. And their pressings are great. They own their own pressing plant called Quality Record Productions. And they do a great job. But they reissued a few Pablos. As some of you know, I'm a Pablo nut. I don't know if you can see back here. This whole row here is all Pablo. And I probably have 3/4 of the catalog. I'd love to have all of them, and I'm still working on it. But they reissued a couple new ones recently that are still available that I would really recommend you picking up. And then we'll talk about what they have coming later this month. I think they're bringing out about 12 to 15 over the course of the year. Anyhow, the new one that came out is a recording called 88 BASIE Street. It's a great recording to begin with. I had the original. This is the original Pablo. And they reissued it, remastered by Kevin Gray on better vinyl, very quiet vinyl. This is a mint copy, or near mint copy. Sounds great. I A/B'd them, and this is still a great copy. But boy, I got to tell you, the new reissue that Gray did, along with the pressing on very quiet vinyl at QRP, it's superb. I pay for these records. I'm not I'm not on any kind of free record. Send out a free record and get a great review. The music on this record is unbelievable. It's just one of the tightest BASIE bands of course, they're all good, but the sound on this is immaculate. I think it was done on Ocean Way Studios in California, which a lot of great records are done at. It was a great recording. The tapes must have been great to begin with, but this opened up so much sound. The depth became much, much, much more predominant than the original great recording. It's a little bit brighter. The bass is a little bit tighter, but the band and the soundstage is so amazing on this. I highly recommend you guys picking this up. Again, 88 BASIE Street. And of course, they brought out another one in that same idiom, a couple of years difference, called Farmers Market Barbecue. The famous Farmers Market in L.A. Great food in there. And I guess the BASIE band maybe used to go there for some barbecue. And of course, the same thing. I have the original Pablo, and I experienced the same thing on this. Much more open, brighter high end, and a very tighter low end. This was originally, in fact, it was mastered by Doug Sachs at his mastering lab in Hollywood back in the day, and they used that original tape to redo it here on the new reissue from Analog Productions. Highly recommend these two. The band is just amazing, and it's just two swinging records. Another recording in the Verve series, and again by Analog Productions. I know it sounds like it's a commercial for Analog Productions, but it's not. I bought these. I didn't get them for free. It's a great record. Johnny Hodges, Blues Aplenty, Johnny Hodges and his orchestra. And these are mainly players from the Duke Ellington era. Billy Strayhorn actually plays piano on this. And, guys from the BASIE band. But this is in the Verve reissue series that Acoustic Sounds is doing. And I believe Kevin Gray did this as well on 180 gram vinyl. The original cover, original jacket, some nice photographs inside. But Roy Eldridge is on here, Vic Dickinson on trombone, Sam Woodyard on drums, Billy Wood on bass. But the real key on this, besides Johnny Hodges, is Ben Webster. Now, I have to tell you, if anybody wants to hear where Charlie Parker got his sound from, Hodges. Just a great player. You'll hear Benny Carter in this playing. You'll hear Bird, and just a great record. There's a really interesting version of Satin Doll on here. It's not a swinging, a little bit upper tempo. It's a kind of a slower tempo, but still has a great swinging mode on it. And some standards on here and some blues as well. But man, just check this out. If you have a streamer, stream this, but buy it. It's much better than you'll hear on a stream. But you'll hear Hodges sound. Just incredible. If you don't, you'll probably maybe heard of Johnny Hodges or heard him play with Duke. But man, just check out his playing. You'll see where so many people got their sound from. Moving on to a couple older records that I picked up recently. One of which, this is an interesting record. Anytime I see anything by Woody Shaw, and I have quite a bit of it, I'm still missing a few. Woody Shaw records are getting pretty pricey. I guess I know why. Availability in good shape is becoming less. This is on the MUSE label, and it's called Imagination. Of course, the tune Imagination is on here. What's interesting about this record is a couple of things. It was done about 1960, I think 67, if I remember right, a couple of years before Woody unfortunately passed away. But on a lot of Woody Shaw records, he plays a lot of his own compositions, which are great, and some other things. But on here, there's a number of standards. If I Were a Bell on there, That There, the Bobby Timmons tune, Stormy Weather, You the Night and the Music's, and of course Imagination. And then a Steve Turre original. Steve Turre is on trombone. There's no saxophone on this record. It's trombone and trumpet, and then rhythm. So it's a 5-piece band quartet with Kirk Lightsey on piano. Another kind of an underrated pianist. Did a fair amount of recording, with a lot of groups. I think he spent some time in Europe. Didn't quite get the notoriety, and I don't know what happened to him, but he kind of disappeared. Same with Ray Drummond, the bass player. Was around for quite a bit. Maybe he is. I just haven't seen him do anything lately. Carl Allen on drums. Kind of the same thing. But of course, Steve Turre on trombone is still playing great, playing all over New York. But listen, it's an interesting record. It's done, by Van Gelder in the recording studio in Englewood in 60. Here it is, right here. It's in June of 1987, and Rudy did the engineering on this. Don Sickler did the production on this. Don is I think he's still alive. Is a trumpet player. Played with a lot of groups. He started this Dameronia group with, doing the music of Tad Dameron a little before this record. Good player. I don't know where he went either, but I've heard him playing. He's a good player. He did the production on this. But this is a digital recording. It was not done analog. They did the record, of course, so it's DDA. The sound is okay. It's not as good as some of the other Woody Shaw records, especially the new Tone Poet that was reissued about 6-7 months ago. The sound isn't that good, but Woody plays so great on it. It's great to hear him play some standards. I think Woody, toward the end of his life, played more standards in live as well. But Muse records, it sounds, it's a Muse pressing, which is good. They're all pretty good, but it is a digital recording. It says right here, a digital recording, which it is what it is. At least we had the music. And back in the mid to late 80s, this is what everybody was doing until they realized that I think the analog situation has its benefits. But at any rate, if you see this around or any Woody Shaw around, I would pick anything up you can find. The records are getting pricey. So my underrated musician of the week is Bob Cooper. Bob played with Stan Kenton. He's a tenor player, West Coast tenor player, basically known for working with Stan Kenton. Married to June Christie for a lot of years. What a great player. A lot of, he's very similar playing to Zoot Sims in a way, but he does have a distinctive sound. But you can hear that kind of that Lester Young, even Ben Webster a little bit in his playing. What a great player, though. This is a great band. This is a contemporary record, and it's called The Music of Bob Cooper. And it was recorded back in the late 50s. I'm going to guess, I'll find it here, August 26th and 27th of 1957 by Roy Danan and produced by, of course, Lester Koenig on the Contemporary label. This is a reissue of it. Somewhere back in here, I've got a not-so-good copy of the original Contemporary. I found this copy almost near mint, which sounds really good. It's the OJC copy, OJC 161. So this would have come out in the 80s. But it's the music of Bob Cooper. What's interesting about this record is, first of all, the group is Frank Rossellino, great trombone player. Lou Levy on piano, who had a lot to do with, the bop era in New York. Later went out to L.A. Max Spencer on bass, Mel Lewis on drums, Pete Condoli, Don Fairquist, and Connie Condoli, the Condoli brothers, on trumpet on a couple tunes. There's a major work here called Jazz Theme and Four Variations, and it's 4 variations on a theme, and it's Bob's composition where he composed to kind of feature himself, as he was a sideman with so many people. I think he wanted the world to hear that he could play, and he plays great. The sound on this we're going to get to in a minute. Side 2 are kind of, standards, Confirmation, Easy Living, Frankie and Johnny, Daydream, and Somebody Loves Me. And Rossellino plays so good at some of Frank Rossellino's greatest playing on contemporary, so you know it was recorded well. The interesting thing about this is that the original recording it came out, I'll read it what it says here, right on the top. I don't know if you can see that or not, right here. It says, stereophonic 2-channel disc recording utilizing Westrex 4545 stereo disc cutting system. That was a system that RCA, I believe, developed, and they were the first to really kind of innovate and bring to light the ability to record at a 45-degree angle. That's what 45-45 means, in a groove, putting one channel on one side, one channel on the other side. Back in the 50s, when stereo was really just coming into the modern era. And anything you find that was on this Westrex system, typically the original records have a big stereo and white kind of oval here that says stereo. And if they're done on Westrex, they're going to sound great. This is why this record particularly sounds, I think, better than a lot of the other OJCs, because it was done right. You had Roy Denan on here, and you had that contemporary recording sound on here. Bob Cooper, check him out. If you could find this record, again, it might be on a stream, I'm not sure. If you can find it, just pick it up. The sound is amazing, and you'll really appreciate the great Bob Cooper. Very, very underrated player. What's interesting about this record, one more thing, Victor Feldman is on vibraharp. Maybe another underrated player. Victor went on to work with Cannonball, somewhat with Miles Davis. He worked with everybody. He was actually on the Steely Dan Asia album. And, he's a great player. And here's one of his records called The Arrival of Victor Feldman. And this was done in 1958. It was done a little bit after the Bob Cooper record, where he plays in a trio, again with Stan Levy on drums, but with Scott LaFaro on bass. He plays vibraharp, vibes, of course, and piano on here. What a talented guy. English gentleman that came here, from England in the 50s and just established himself as a monster. And like I say, he just went on to do so many different things in music. He's on the Bob Cooper record, but this is his first record on the contemporary label. The Arrival of Victor Feldman. Maybe I should do a bunch of his stuff. He's on a couple of those Pole Winner records and a bunch of things on contemporary and all over the place. Let's talk about one classical record. Again, not to step on my dear friends at Audiophilia, who do this much better than I do. Because of one of the people on there, Scott at Depressing Matters, and check his YouTube channel out as well. Does some great work. He started talking about RCA Victrola records. We know RCA, the classical arena, from the great Living Stereo records on the Shaded Dog version records of all genres and recordings, which predominantly are all pretty good. But the Victrola record was a budget label, and it was really, done in the 1960s. But a lot of these records were actually represses of some of the Living Stereo things and some of the other RCA things that had come out, a couple of years before this. This record here of Sibelius's Fifth Symphony, which is a great symphony. For those of you who are just getting into classical music, I'd recommend you listen to Sibelius's Fifth Symphony. I've got a number of great recordings. San Francisco is good. I could go through the whole thing. The Von Karajan's are good. The Beethovens are good. The 4 or 5 other conductors do great jobs on this work. But this was This was originally done on the I think a Living Stereo with the London Symphony Orchestra, with Alexander Gibson on here. Tempos are a little fast for me on some of the things. The sound is incredibly good on this, and I bought this record. Well, I'm a little disappointed in it for one reason, and I'll tell you what that is. I bought it off of eBay. I always say I'm never going to buy another record off of eBay, but I bought this off of eBay for $10, and it said sealed. So I get the record, and it was sealed, but they put a seal outside the record. Whoever sold this to me sealed it himself. When I opened that seal up, of course, the plastic was still on the jacket, but it was open, and this record has been played. It was sold as a near mint or a very good plus. I'd say the grading was pretty accurate. There's some noise on it, but when you buy a record that's 50, 60 years old, you're going to have some noise. I did clean it, and it helped a bit. And it's really, really good. But the sound on this is incredible. A budget label, and you can find a lot of these RCAs around. Again, Scott at Depressing Matters did a whole video on RCA Victrola records, and he'll give you much more information. I don't want to be repetitive. He does it a lot better than I can do it. But and if you see these around and you're interested in some classical stuff, pick them up. They're all interesting. They're all good. And I would recommend you doing it. Anyhow, so I guess we're going into some new areas here, and we'll see how it goes on. But I am going to try to talk about, maybe a underappreciated, under the radar musician every video here. And I have an idea who's going to be next, and I'll leave that till next time. Until next time, for those of you who watch this tomorrow on the 4th of July, happy 4th of July. And for those of you who watch this at another time, thank you. Appreciate your time. If you have any comments, please leave them, and I try to answer every one if I can. And until next time, we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.